Crazy weekend so far. We had the John Jones fight. We had the Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. John Jones does get the victory. All right. Goes 28-1. That's that number. 281. The 60th prime number. And oh, yes. The 60th president. The, the guy who won the 60th election, presidential election, was in the building. All right. Cleveland. I don't know, I'm mixing shit up. Okay, so yeah. The guy who won the 60th presidential election. He was in the building. And the guy who won, right, going 28-1, the 60th, just like 281, 281, the 60th prime number. He gives a tribute to the winner of the election, right? UFC loves Donald Trump. I knew he's coming. He gets so much love when he goes to, and that, if you pay attention to the script, that's how you get Donald Trump. You play on his ego. You play on his ego because yeah, he gets so much love when he comes to UFC. That definitely knew he was gonna show up for this big, huge fight, right? So John Jones wins and gives a celebration to Donald J. Trump, president. Okay, there too. That's crazy. So it was an epic night. He went and gave Trump the belt to him. I'll show you that too here in a second. But yeah, this is how it started our Friday night. All right. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. Before the fight, Mike Tyson slapped the fire out of Jake Paul. But then it was just Mike was just too old, man. He gassed out. He gassed out quick. Right. Which was to be expected. But very early on, when Mike was letting them hands go, I seen that Jake Paul was pretty scared. Hold on, matter of fact, let's take a look at this.
33 seconds left of the fight, a message was revealed about Kronos, Father Time.
Father Time is unbeaten for a reason, everybody.
Father Time is unbeaten for a reason, everybody, at the 33-minute mark. And that's what we're seeing is Father Time type ritual.
Father Time is unbeaten for a reason.
And we see it with LeBron James. We see it with Aaron Rodgers.
Everybody.
Very, very symbolic. We saw that go down at the 33 mark for Father Time, the symbol that baby biting Biden was doing of Kronos for the Halloween so-win ritual during the peanut sacrifice. It is the symbol of Kronos, Father Time. Celsius, C is 3, so this is the third degree in Masonry, which is the most important. Symbolically, they're fighting in the square and compass with the C, which is the third letter.
We just talked about that Madison Square Garden, Times Square. New York got a lot of squares. It's New York, Scottish Rite, the Freemasonry.
Letter with the degree symbol, the third
They fighting
degree.
always.
This is a third degree ritual, which is the most important ritual. Some of the images I got out of the Duncan ritual of Freemasonry. And the ritual just is very similar to a boxing match. It looks like this guy's getting roughed up, which would be Jake Paul. And then at the end, they do a certain hug with a certain foot position. And that's exactly kind of what we saw as they're wearing the black and white as well, even though this one's silver for the full moon. It's all alchemy on the world stage. We just watch an initiation ritual on the world stage. And when these initiation rituals happen for the third degree, as they're fighting, right there, it says the third degree underneath them. You got other people like Shaquille O'Neal, who's also high level Mason, watching it. But it's connected to Saturn. And as you can see, Saturn biting the hand right here, and that's what Mike Tyson was doing during the whole fight. He was biting his gloves. They were just kept reporting on it. Bite Club, how he bit it the whole time, just like Biden biting the babies. I believe he's connected to this Saturn ritual of the third degree. So you
Biden is connected to this. I'm gonna let it keep playing, but yeah. Because right before the fight, this news came out. Exclusive. Iran told U.S. it wouldn't try to kill Trump. Where the hell that come from? Iran told U.S. that it's not trying to kill Trump. Source: this is CBS News, the New York Times, Washington Journal. U.S. received Iran's written assurance it was not actively trying to assassinate Trump. What the where? It just pops up out of nowhere, right? So yeah, back to this guy. I didn't even realize we was getting this.
You see these 3 steps, and here's the child, and Jake Paul is the problem child. That's what they're calling him. And then he's advancing to over here, and then here's the father time figure, the third degree for the first 3 steps. And when you look at the symbolism in Masonry of the first 3 steps, they also have this guy, this Kronos figure with the Sith, the Grim Reaper, which resembles Father Time, and even the clock running out of time. It's all about Saturn running out of time. The Grim Reaper, you can see here the 3 steps.
It's crazy because remember I said when Trump got in the office, I'm like, this got something to do with time. And then if you type out time, all right, I go Joe Biden sacrifice, which is 322. All right, 322 is like for Skull and Bones. Right, yeah, Skull and Bones. Also equals 137, which is 33. But yeah, time. What we saying? Time. What does all this stuff got to do about time? Because I keep on talking about Back to the Future. And time 47. Whatever is going on with Trump, it has to do with time. It's that time or something like that, right? So yeah, back to this.
For this Harema Biff ritual. And at the exact 33 seconds left until the end of the fight, the Master Mason for the 33rd degree, the MM, the 3-3, they say this Father Time quote.
Father Time is unbeaten for a reason, everybody.
Because this was a initiation ritual on the world stage for the 3rd degree. As you can see, the Master Mason or 3rd degree, they show you the importance of the hourglass in the symbolism for time running out, and the Sith as well for time running out. And that is the symbol for death, time. It's Father Time for the 3rd degree right here, that symbol. This is why Elon, when he's talking about peanut, he says, vote for peanut, liberty, and freedom. This is the 3 boom, boom, boom that you see on a lot of state emblems. The 3, it's for the 3rd degree. Peanut, its owner, also has the Masonic running out of time symbol tattooed with the skull running out of time. Just like Elon was doing the distress signal of the Master Mason for the 47th president. And it's all connected to astrology. It's symbol, sex, and the stars. Part of the 6-9 prophecy that you see here on the Masonic Royal Arch, where it goes up to 6-9 and goes down. It'd be interesting to see if Bitcoin goes to 96 and then corrects. But it's all symbolic on the world stage, these symbols. Make sure to go to IlluminatiComic.com, click that link below. Make sure to go grab your copy of the Illuminati comic, limited time only. I got those links down below. You'll learn everything there is to know about the Bavarian Illuminati and these rituals going down on the world stage.
That was deep. We appreciate that. The real time. I'm about to find that guy. That was pretty deep. So yeah, early on in the fight, Mike looked pretty good, and it looked like J. Paul was scared of the power of Mike Tyson. You know, as time go, I mean, the muscles is heavy. You need oxygen to get to the muscles just to lift them up. That's the one thing about having big muscles is when they get tired, they tired, and it's like trying to pick up a pile of bricks. A little shuffle line dancing before the fight. And why was Mike Tyson ass out? That was crazy. Mike Tyson with his cheeks out before the fight started. That was a shaming ritual. Jake Paul, ladies, that's some top tier turkey right there. That's some prime real estate right there.
Please, no. Logan, I think he said you might be next. Oh, fuck, I'll kill you, Mike. Oh, please, no. Logan?
Yeah, Logan Paul he don't got no awareness. The fight's over, they show each other respect, and and there was another thing about this Netflix fight. It kept buffering. Like, that was horrible. But by the time the Mike Tyson fight really jumped off, I think they had got it fixed, got it under control. But that was pissing everybody off. I was online, and everybody was talking about that. Yeah. Early on, Mike Pyre was dominant. He had to get him out of there real quick. This was going go anywhere. But this was really the fight of the night. The two chicks that fought before Mike and Jake Paul, they went to war. They got it in. Well, as you can see, the Ireland chick, the chick from Ireland, the European woman, she leads in with her head all the time. So a cut happened. Headbutt. Messed this woman's eye up. I'm talking about she had just meat hanging. It was crazy. Blood just coming in. So, yeah, and she ended up losing. So, and then the woman she fought, name was Kate. Like Caitlin Clark. Another CC, another 33. Caitlin Clark. And it's setting this up for next year because women's sports is going to be used next year. Women's sports is going to take off next year. Going Mike enter in the ring to do battle. That was great. Okay, yeah, here you go. Giving Trump the belt. Let's see if we can hear what they say, as a matter of fact. Yo, Elon Musk too. Elon Musk is right there. Shit. It was a good night. Elon sitting next to Trump. Elon, he's the one. That's the one we keeping an eye out for. So, yeah, something's going on, man. And now looking back on it, Joe Biden, that motherfucker, he's a piece of shit. I don't think he wanted old girl to win. He set her up. He kept trying to sabotage her. He liked Trump. He loved Trump. Joe Biden. I thought it was Biden, like binding the country back together after all this division, but I might be biting. And another thing was Joe Biden sniffing. I didn't know he was biting little white girls, but I know he'd sniff them. He will sniff a little white girl. All right, it's plenty of video evidence of this motherfuckers sniffing little white girls. And on the streets, we call sniffing white girl sniffing coke. That's really sniffing cocaine. You're doing cocaine. And if you remember that story a few months back, but they found cocaine in the White House. And then we know his son, Hunter Biden, he's all down with cocaine.
Faithfully execute.
Yeah, Joe Biden still love cocaine. So we've been seeing this thing is going. You know, we try to predict the Super Bowl, get all our little ducks in a row for our Super Bowl predictions. All right, so I think we all can agree JFK has got something to do with this. So I got it ain't the deepest documentary I've ever seen on JFK, but it's up there. It's up there. Because this is the thing what everybody misses out on. JFK's in on it too, right? I don't believe this was JFK. It might have been him riding the car, but the person they put on that plane wasn't JFK. That background music loud as fuck. What the fuck, bro? That's just annoying.
A president for all the people.
Harry Truman once said there are 14 or 15 million Americans who have the resources to have representatives in Washington to protect their interests. And that the interests of the great mass of the other people, 150 or 60 million, is the responsibility of the President of the United States. And I propose to fulfill it.
Imagine a president going after the oil companies like John Kennedy went after the steel companies in 1962.
The simultaneous and identical actions of United States Steel and other leading steel corporations, increasing steel prices by some $6 a ton, constitute a wholly unjustifiable and irresponsible defiance of the public interest.
We lost a visionary who recognized the need for radical social change.
Those who make peaceful revolutions.
But that didn't sound good, except for those for internal order. We gonna keep these motherfuckers here in line. We ain't trying to go abroad with the war. I hear you. Okay, so yeah, the Hunt brothers is coming up. Yeah, I know they ain't really brothers. I know they ain't related, but the Hunt brothers is coming up. It's just finding it weird that they both got the same name. Okay, because this is BitChute, so I can't, I got the commercials on. Won't you hit the sin? But so this is in Dallas, right? And it's crazy because these names that they, the people that's involved, allegedly involved, is like, Bush, but Prescott Bush, like Prescott, like Dak Prescott who played for the Dallas Cowboys, or Hunt, like Kareem Hunt, like Lamar Hunt. You're gonna see that a lot.
Backward and to the left, and not think that he was shot from the front. This is Dr. Cyril Wecht. As the former head of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, he is the expert elected by the experts to represent them.
If you have that kind of force slamming into the rear of somebody's head, then that should drive the individual forward. But instead, we have him moving backward and to the left. That suggests the very distinct possibility of another shot having been fired in synchronized fashion from the right side, the so-called grassy.
It's like Parkland Hospital, Parkland School. They stopped the stream.
creative denial of the truth. The lying continues today.
Good evening, I'm Peter Jennings. 40 years after the assassination, the latest ABC News poll tells us that more than 2/3 of Americans still believe there was a conspiracy to kill the president.
40 years later, Jennings thought he was the man to fix this problem, that 2/3 of the American people believe the conspiracy theories that say the government is lying.
What we will do tonight is demonstrate that those theories are wrong.
Of course, he will have to lie to do that. This is Malcolm Kilduff, Kennedy's assistant press secretary. He is speaking at a press conference at the Dallas hospital where the president has just been pronounced dead. Please notice the ABC logo. This is from Jennings' video.
He died of a gunshot wound in the brain.
And they fade the scene out. No more press conference. But now watch this. The same press secretary, the same press conference, no ABC logo.
Kennedy died at approximately 1 o'clock Central Standard Time today here in Dallas. He died of a gunshot wound in the brain. Dr. Berkeley told me it's a simple matter, Tom, of a bullet right through the head.
The press secretary tried to show us how the head wound was inflicted, but Jennings cut that out because it destroys the lie that he was trying to tell. Jennings also attacks the movie JFK for misleading people, to make them think that there was a shot from the front.
This is the key shot. The president going back and to his left. Shot from the front and right. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
So, how did Jennings refute this powerful evidence? He didn't even try, really.
Back and to the left in no way indicates where a bullet came from.
One of the leading forensic scientists in America says that the film shows
The very distinct possibility of another shot having been fired in synchronized fashion from the right side, the so-called grassy knoll area.
But we're just supposed to take Jennings' word for it. This sort of take my word for it is standard operating procedure for news people like Jennings.
In all these years, there has not been a single piece of credible evidence to prove a conspiracy.
In fact, 100% of the medical personnel in Dallas who saw the president's wounds described a large exit wound in the back of the head about this size and location. Virtually all the witnesses near the grassy knoll say they heard a shot from that direction, and dozens of them chased after the gunman who fired that shot. Congress hired acoustic experts to analyze the sounds of a tape recording of the assassination. Their report was decisive and powerful.
The probability of 95% or better, there was indeed a shot fired from the grassy knoll.
And Jennings' response to this mountain of proof is,
All these years, there has not been a single piece of credible evidence to prove a conspiracy.
Now there's a problem here. Jennings was a newsman. If people were to come to see him as a crude liar, his career as a newsman would be finished. Why would he risk everything telling such weak and obvious lies about a murder that took place 40 years ago? The people who killed the president and got away with it 40 years ago were obviously very powerful then. Are some of the killers still alive? Are they still so powerful that they can force a leading newsman like Jennings to lie to protect them? Apparently, the ones who are still alive are still very powerful people.
Your name is the brother. You killed all our leaders. I don't even have to do nothing to you. You caused your own country to fall.
Commonly referred to as the single bullet theory. The FBI and Warren Commission concluded that Oswald, or anyone else shooting with this rifle, could only have fired 3 shots in the 6 seconds during which the shooting took place. Since the first shot missed, that means, except for Kennedy's head wound, all the other wounds to Kennedy and all the wounds to Governor Connally sitting in front of him had to have been caused by a single bullet. This anti-conspiracy theory, that there was only one shooter, is completely dependent upon this single bullet theory. The anti-conspiracy theory says that this single bullet entered the president's back headed downward at an angle of 17 degrees. Then, while inside the president's body, the bullet reversed direction and moved upward, necessarily piercing and exiting Kennedy's spine, a major bone structure, in order to leave the president's body from the front of his neck. According to the official theory, the bullet then waited 1.6 seconds, presumably in midair, before turning right and then left. The bullet then headed downward, now at an angle of 27 degrees, shattering Connally's 5th rib and exiting from the same side of his chest. The bullet then turned right again and struck Governor Connally in his right wrist, shattering the radius bone. The bullet then exited Connally's wrist, made a dramatic left turn, and buried itself into Connally's left thigh, from which, according to the official theory, it later fell out and was found in absolutely perfect condition, without a trace of blood on it, in a corner of Dallas's Parkland Hospital, on a stretcher not in any way connected with the case.
The bullet was found here in this area.
And not on that stretcher. That's a stretcher I took off of the elevator. It was there when I came up.
That is some bullet, with even more magical qualities. You see, substantial bullet fragments were recovered from Connolly's leg and wrist. These are the fragments from his wrist. But the bullet that was found on the hospital stretcher was completely undamaged and was not missing any fragments. But we're not done with this bullet yet. You remember Dr. Wecht.
At the National Archives in Washington, Dr. Cyril Wecht, former head of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, examined bullets the Warren Commission had test-fired. To find out if a bullet could break so many bones and remain apparently intact, the commission used a rifle similar to Oswald's.
And then they got these bullets, all 6.5 millimeter. And they test fired first into cotton wadding. These two bullets were fired into cotton wadding, striking nothing. You will note that these bullets both have a minimal degree of protrusion of the lead at the base. Otherwise, they are intact, which is what you would expect. The next bullet broke one rib of a goat carcass. Notice, please, it's widening. This bullet struck one of the two large bones that come down from the elbow to the wrist in a human cadaver. They wanted to simulate the fracture of that same bone in Governor Connolly. Please note the substantial deformity. This is classical, typical, when a bullet strikes a dense, heavy bone or some other very firm object. Now, I want you to look at the so-called stretcher bullet. This bullet is the actual bullet that the Warren Commission claims broke both John Connolly's right fifth rib, destroying 4 inches of that bone, pulverizing it, and which caused a comminuted or extensively fragmented fracture of a dense, heavy bone down near the base of the wrist and emerged in this condition. You will see that it is near pristine. As a matter of fact, its nose, the cone, the sides of the bullet are completely intact and unscathed. It has only minimal protrusion of the lead core at the base, in the same fashion that the two bullets did that had been fired in the test wadding. That's from the impact of the firing mechanism.
Without this single bullet explanation, the government can't possibly explain how one lone assassin could have caused all these wounds. But once you conclude that no single bullet could have created all these wounds, you have to conclude that there was at least a fourth shot. But Oswald could not possibly have fired that fourth shot. So that means a second rifle. And if there was a second rifleman, then by definition, there had to have been a conspiracy. Now, you're all familiar with this word. We've had it rammed down our throats for 40 years. Conspiracy theories are for nuts, right? But in this case, if you continue to deny reality, to insist that there was no conspiracy, wouldn't that make you a nut who refuses to see reality? The murder of John F. Kennedy presents us with a world of opposites, a looking glass world in which black is white, and virtually everything is the opposite of what we have been taught to believe. Let's try this. Let's try thinking differently. We were told that one bullet made all of these wounds. And what's the opposite of that? The opposite would be that every wound was made by a different bullet. Let's count them. Kennedy's back, 1. Kennedy's throat, 2. Kennedy's head, 3. Connolly's ribs, 4. Connolly's wrist, 5. Connolly's leg, 6. Since we're counting bullets, remember that even the government admits that the first shot missed. So let's add one more. The first shot missed, 7. Photographs show, and 4 witnesses have said, that there was a bullet hole in the windshield. The witnesses include a doctor.
But it was very clear. It was a through and through bullet hole through the windshield of the car, from the front to the back.
A Secret Service agent's report, and the supervisor of the men who repaired the windshield.
It was a good, clean bullet hole right straight through the front. Right. This had a clean round hole in the front and fragmentation from the back.
Photographs also show a bullet hole in the convertible roof frame over the windshield. James Tague was nicked by a bullet fragment while standing near the triple underpass. And several witnesses, including 2 police officers, reported seeing bullets impact the street, the curb, the sidewalk, and the grass. Now, we don't want to exaggerate. It's very possible that the first shot, the shot that missed, impacted the grass, or the curb, or the street, or hit the limousine here. But it is at least as likely that even more shots were fired in synchronized fashion by multiple shooters, but that no one saw where these bullets hit. We are told that Oswald acted alone. And what's the opposite of that? This hail of bullets was fired by at least 3 teams of shooters, a small army, including spotters, as many as 13 people. We are told that Kennedy was the most powerful man in the world, brought down by a powerless, minimum-wage nobody. And what's the opposite of turn into the killing zone? Not only had the support from the Army been canceled, but
a careful examination of where all of the Secret Service agents were that day and their duty assignments indicates that no Secret Service agent was in that area.
Normally, there would be 4 motorcycles on each side of the president's limousine. This is what the Dallas police prepared for. However, All of the motorcycle police were removed from escorting the president. 2 were placed on each side of the car containing the Secret Service agents, and the rest were moved to the back of the parade.
I was president. I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday.
Look at the people in these crowds. They are 4 and 5 deep in some places. Just before the last turn in the motorcade, we can see that people are still standing 5 deep to see the president. But then the limousine turns the corner, drives 100 yards, and what happened? Where are all the people?